Chapter 8 is all about one program, and that program is called Vi. You may have heard of Vi already. It's one of our Unix text editors. Let's begin. Vi is a funny old program. It's a text editor, and if you don't know what a text editor is, well, it's a program used to edit files that contain nothing but text. And notice that that does not mean a word processor. A word processor does edit text, but it edits files that contain other information besides text. They contain formatting information, like the fact that the following text is in a certain font, and this text over here is bold, and so on. Text editors don't contain any of that information, they just contain text. And Vi is one of them. Another one that you may or may not be familiar with, a very, very simple one, is called Windows Notepad. Notepad is one of the simplest programs you can ever use. You open it up, you type in some information, save it, print it, cut, copy and paste. That's about all that Notepad can do. Well, when it comes to text editors, Vi would have to be the complete opposite to Notepad. It is far from simple, and yet it is, unlike Notepad, an incredibly powerful program. The fact that it's far from simple is the reason that we need a special module just to understand what Vi is. That's what this first introductory module is all about. So, if you like, Vi is a visual editor. That's where the name Vi comes from. And it is a full-screen program. There are actually Vi editors around that edit files on a line-by-line basis, and Vi is not one of them. If you're not familiar with line-by-line editing programs, you might have once originally seen the DOS program called Edlin, which was a derivative of the old Unix programs called Ed and X. Anyway, the sorts of files that you might want to edit using a text editor include HTML documents, which are just plain text, shell scripts, configuration files, and perhaps source code, like .c files or .cpp files for C++, and so on. It turns out that historically Vi did indeed evolve from the line-based text editing programs, the Unix ones specifically ED or Ed and X, and as such Vi shares many of the same editing commands as these two programs. Now, something that you really need to know about Vi. It is notoriously difficult to learn. Learning Vi can almost be a painful experience. It's horrible, it's very unintuitive and user-unfriendly. It's almost user-hostile. But in the world of Unix, at least with the Unix shell, there aren't too many alternatives. There's really only one, and that's Emacs. So if it turns out that you have to do a lot of editing, say of .c files or shell documents, if this is your job in Unix, then you're going to have to master Vi, unfriendly as it is. The upside of the whole equation is that it is an extremely powerful and feature-rich text editor. In fact, it's probably one of the most feature-rich text editors in the world, especially if you're attempting to do programming-related activities, such as developing .c files or shell scripts or something similar. Once you have learnt Vi, and that can take quite some time, but once you are familiar and fluent in Vi, you'll be able to perform basic text editing tasks and even complex text editing tasks faster than probably any other program that you can think of. I learned Vi in 1986, and I had nobody to help me. I had nobody to instruct me in the use of Vi, not like you're getting. It took me probably about a month to become comfortable with it, and probably another 3 or 4 months to become, I guess, what you might call an expert in it. And I did that by actively reading the Vi documentation, and there's plenty of that. So let's have a look at one of the reasons that Vi was designed for terminals, keyboards if you like, that do not contain special keys. By special keys I mean things like the arrow keys, page up, page down, the function keys, and even the Alt key. Needless to say, it was also terminals that don't use a mouse. So think of whatever text editing package you might be familiar with, and take away all mouse support, take away function keys, take away the Alt key, the up and down and left and right arrows, page up, page down, home and end, etc. and then try and imagine how you might actually perform some of the tasks that you wish to perform, even such simple things as opening and saving files. Well, it turns out that basically the only keystrokes that you have at your disposal that are keystrokes that you're not going to use to actually edit your document are the control keys. And there's really only about 20 or 30 or 40 control keys, certainly not enough to do all the things that you need to do in Vi. So what the designers of Vi did was they split Vi into two modes. And keystrokes have a different meaning in each of the two modes. That way they were able to designate enough keystrokes to perform all the various commands that you might need to perform in Vi. Now, if this is starting to sound complex, let's have a look at what that actually means. First we have command mode. In command mode, each key you type in, like the letter T or the letter M, represents a specific command to Vi. It instructs Vi to actually do something, such as move around or save the file or delete some text or whatever. Then we have insert mode, which is the mode that you would typically expect to find a text editor in. In insert mode, every keystroke that you type represents the text that you actually wish to insert into the document. And the escape key is a special key that's used to take you from insert mode into command mode. And we've got a diagram that we can look at that will help clarify this. Okay, imagine our two modes. What we're going to do is we're going to bounce back and forth between the two modes for our entire Vi editing session. This is perfectly normal. Sometimes you'll need to be in command mode because you'll need to perform a certain command. Other times you'll need to be in insert mode because you'll wish to be inserting text. And you'll just go back and forth between the two modes, probably 3 or 4 times a minute. What you really start to need to be aware of is which mode you're in at any given time. Vi beginners have absolutely no comfort in this particular model. They're expecting that everything they type will just appear on the screen. So they start typing and they wonder why nothing appears on the screen in front of them. What they're actually doing is issuing commands and they're not aware of it. Or conversely, they may expect to issue some command, say X. The X command does a particular thing, and as soon as they type in X, expecting it to do that particular task, that particular command, they find themselves not in command mode but actually in insert mode, and the X simply appears on the screen. Very easy to get confused. Anyway, to elaborate on this diagram a little bit, when you start Vi from the shell, you find yourself in command mode. The implication of this is as soon as you start Vi, you cannot immediately start typing. You have to issue one of the commands that takes you into insert mode before you can start typing. And there are several of those: A, I, O, various capital letters, S and C, and then you start typing. And you type away as many lines as you like of typing, and when you're done, you press escape, and that takes you back to command mode. And then you issue a few more commands, and if one of those commands was A or I, then you go back into insert mode, and then escape takes you back into command mode, and over and over and over again until you're finished, at which point you quit Vi and end up back at the shell. All quitting is done, obviously, from command mode. Now, I can guarantee that if you've never used Vi before, you will get completely flustered and confused as to which mode you're currently in. You'll start issuing commands and find them actually appearing as text in your file, which means obviously then you're going to go and have to delete them. Or conversely, you'll start typing, expecting the text to appear on the screen, when in fact you'll be simply issuing commands, and you may in fact be accidentally deleting text. It is a frustrating experience, but you do get used to it. And when you do get used to it, it actually becomes almost second nature. Now, for the remainder of this chapter, I'm going to show you the most common commands that Vi has available. I've been using Vi now for over 15 years, and I'll be showing you all the commands that I find useful. However, I'll only be providing a reasonably small subset of all the Vi commands that there are. I'll just be showing you the most useful ones. Nevertheless, there's quite a lot of them, and so I'll necessarily need to get through them quite quickly. I'll show you each command, briefly explain what it's for, give you a demonstration of it, and then move on to the next. We probably won't spend more than 15 to 30 seconds on each one. Obviously, you can practice these in your own time, and you can come back and replay the demonstrations anytime you wish. Okay, let's first begin by having a look at how to open Vi and edit various files.